When it comes to figuring out your life plan, at one point or another you've probably found yourself contemplating your career path. Pretty much all of us will struggle to answer questions about what career we want to pursue, so this is nothing to feel anxious about. But what if asking yourself about the best career for your life is, in fact, the wrong question? Sigmas have an entirely different way of approaching the question of career and profession that may just overturn the way you think about figuring out your life path. It's all a matter of mindset. Rather than picking a career as such, Sigmas choose to instead develop either one skill set or a series of skill sets that they harness throughout their lives. In this episode of Notes from a Sigma Male, let's dive deep into just what this means, why Sigmas think this way, and how you too can harness the power of this mindset for a better approach to not only your professional but also your personal life. Today's video is why Sigma males pick skill sets instead of a career. So let's dive right in. First of all, let's address the main issue at hand, the problem with the career mindset. From an early age, you might have been conditioned to think about your professional life as a career. And by this, I mean a clearly defined pathway that has certain checkpoints you need to reach in order to consider yourself successful. People will train in a certain field, find their desired entry point, and measure themselves up against others who have also chosen the same career path. The easiest way to envision a career when it's thought of this way is to picture it like a ladder. Career-orientated people see themselves as existing on a ladder that has a clearly orientated top and bottom, and in order to get to the top, they need to start from the bottom and step by step design their path upward to ensure a linear model of success. However, there are several issues that accompany this way of thinking, and you might already be a victim to any one of them. First of all, there's a good chance that your dream job may not even exist yet. Sure, some people grow up and quickly realize they would love to be a doctor or a lawyer or an actor. But the world of work and technology is changing at such an unprecedentedly fast pace that every few years the face of many industries completely changes. In a professional climate like this, it's perfectly reasonable to assume that by the time you become qualified within any given field, that the job market will look entirely different. Career guidance experts already warn that the days of specified professions are reaching their end. And of course, there will always be the need for key experts, such as midwives, doctors, and nurses, but many other professions are due to change drastically thanks to the intervention of new and particularly AI technology. At present, we're going through a radical shift in the workplace environment. Throughout the coronavirus pandemic, all the time people spent at home resulted in massive numbers of workers having second thoughts about their careers and quitting their jobs. This trend is ongoing, and economists are referring to it as the Great Resignation or the Big Quit. According to a PricewaterhouseCoopers survey conducted in the US in early August 2021, 65% of employees said they were looking for a new job, and 88% of executives said their company was experiencing higher staff turnover than normal. This ongoing trend is said to have a huge impact on the overall economy and jobs market, meaning that right now is not the wisest time to settle into a career and expect security. To expect the unexpected is something that comes naturally to Sigmas, and they would never bank on the security of a career at such a precarious time. In the past, people chose a career, went to university or trade school in preparation for that career, and once they completed their education, they would very rarely go back. In fact, to go back to education could even be seen as a step backwards, and that's all changing now, which is something that Sigmas have understood was coming for a long time. Career experts have already made note of the fact that going forward, the likelihood is that most people will end up going back into education several times throughout their lives in order to retrain either within their current professions or an entirely new one. And what's more, if your dream job hasn't in fact been invented yet, then you are pursuing a career that isn't going to help it be invented. The only way new jobs and professions are created is by those willing to think outside the box and do something new. This is something that comes as second nature to Sigmas, as they can't help but walk their own paths in life. And some of the most famous innovators of our time, such as Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, are famous examples of this Sigma way of thinking in action. So, with the very idea of a career being on the brink of becoming obsolete, what does it mean when I say focus on a skill set over a career, and how do Sigmas put this into practice? Focusing on a skill set over career. From an early age, you might have been conditioned to think about your professional life as a career, and by doing this you limit yourself to following a path that's already been laid out before you. But instead, what you can do is to think like a Sigma and break away from the pack. To focus on developing a skill set gives you much more flexibility when it comes to employment opportunities. You have greater room to explore and experiment across different fields, meaning it's far more likely you'll end up arriving at your dream job at one point or another. Plus, having a strong skill set only makes it more likely that you will in fact manifest your own dream job into being, even if it doesn't exist yet, due to the fact that you understand the breadth of your talents better than anyone else. Sigmas don't focus too much on figuring out the profession itself. Rather, they focus on the kind of tasks they would be doing in any given role. A mechanic, for instance, works with his hands and has to have a deep understanding of engineering and motors. A teacher needs to be knowledgeable in their subject and a good communicator. And Sigmas isolate the skills they would most like to employ in their professional lives and place them as the focus of their career goals. A Sigma who loves logical reasoning and solving puzzles may choose to pursue science as a way of implementing these skills. On the other hand, a Sigma who likes to work under pressure and make split-second decisions may acknowledge this fact and, as a result, pursue a high-intensity career, such as a fireman or a policeman. Developing a skill set over a career takes a lot of this kind of self-knowledge, something that Sigmas possess in spades. So, how do Sigmas implement this self-knowledge in order to create a fulfilling professional life? Well, before we continue, if you're enjoying the video, please be sure to take a second to click the like button. It really helps us to grow the channel and allows us to bring you more content. So, how to harness your skills like a Sigma. As they are free thinkers who find it easy to break free of the prescriptions of others, Sigmas have a pretty easy time developing a skill set over a career path. If taking matters into your own hands doesn't come as naturally to you, you don't need to worry, you can still learn from the ways of the Sigma. Pick a particular skill set that is monetizable and intend to stick with it for 5 years. Why 5 years? Well, chances are the job market will have changed by that stage anyway and you'll be in need of a change. Also, working this way limits the risks that you'll end up growing bored and disengaged with your work. Switching things up every few years keeps you engaged with what you're doing and causes you to consciously review whether or not you're doing something that makes you feel fulfilled. Furthermore, when adopting this lifestyle, it's important to also adopt the Sigma mindset. Sigma males don't see their identities as being tied to the career they pursue. While so many people treat their jobs as if it's the most important thing about them as a human being, Sigmas see themselves as the sum of their choices. Their identity is more tied to the skill sets they've chosen to develop than any particular job title. Adopting this mindset is particularly healthy as it divests your sense of self from the work you do, preserving your individuality and stopping you from getting sucked into a work is life lifestyle. In the eyes of a Sigma, work should be there to facilitate a fulfilling life, not to become the be-all and end-all of their lives. By thinking like a Sigma, you can learn to develop a more open-minded approach to your professional life and better integrate it into your broader life goals without sacrificing any growth. And that's why Sigmas pick a skill set instead of a career. Thanks for watching today's episode of Notes from a Sigma Male. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to check out the rest of the channel for more insider advice from the mind of a Sigma male.